What's up, guys? My name is Kelli Keller, and I'm from the ORU women's soccer team. I just finished up my senior season and my last season as a Golden Eagle. Today I wanted to share a little bit of my story with you guys. So some background first. I'm from Tulsa, and I grew up in the faith. I have amazing parents who really showed me what it looks like to love the Lord well. I grew up playing soccer. I've played since I was 4 years old, and I always wanted to play Division I soccer in college. Surprisingly, though, I never wanted to go to ORU, similar to a lot of people that end up here. My parents came here, my two older sisters came here. One of them actually played soccer here right before I got to ORU, and I was like, no, I want to do my own thing, I'm going to be different. But sure enough, I came on my visit my junior year of high school, and I felt so much peace about it. I ended up coming, and I'm so glad that I did because I met some of the most amazing people. So now for my story. Since I showed up at ORU, the fall of my freshman year was amazing. I was really enjoying things, meeting great people. School-wise, it was super easy in gen eds like every other freshman, and I was playing a decent amount for a freshman in soccer. We did really well that season, and we went to the conference tournament. We made it to the conference finals and lost in penalties, but nonetheless, it was a great season, and we had amazing seniors who just really poured into us and encouraged us, and I looked up to them a lot, hoping to be like them one day. So we came back from the conference tournament, and 3 days after that, we went to the barn, which is our indoor facility, and we were scrimmaging with some of our guys' team. While we were scrimmaging, I turned and planted wrong, and immediately I heard my knee pop and knew something was really wrong. I went to the doctor and found out I had torn my ACL, my meniscus, and strained my MCL. It was the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life. It is crazy because earlier that day I was talking with one of my best friends, Marina, about our biggest fears, and I told her my biggest fear was tearing my ACL. And it happened that night. I went through the long months of recovery and was pretty devastated because soccer was all that I had ever known. Not that it was my identity, but it was something that I found so much joy in, and I loved it. And also, I had seen friends go through the recovery process in high school and dreaded all that they had to do. So I knew it was going to be a big process. It was brutal for sure, but I recovered through it, and I grew so much, spiritually and just internally all around. Fast forward to August of my sophomore season. It was a few games into the season and we were on the road. I was playing outside back and went in for a tackle and I went down. It was on the same knee and I knew that I had hurt it again. Right away I felt let down by God, just so disappointed by the promises that He had spoken over my life, the promises of safety and protection, and even just prayers that people had prayed over me. I went to the doctor when we got back from Arkansas State, and I got the results back saying that I had a bone bruise and fraying of my ACL. So it could have been worse. I didn't have to have surgery, and I was feeling pretty hopeful about things. So I stuck to that plan. I rehabbed all throughout the fall, and then came back that spring because I was able to play. But in March, we started practicing again, and we had morning practices. And I remember going down in practice again and thinking, I cannot do this again. And I was defeated and exhausted from the whole process of playing and not playing and then playing again and not playing. And I remember that practice being super emotional for me, and just everything that I had gone through was just flashing before my eyes like I had to do it all over again. I had basically lived in the training room for the past year, and I couldn't figure out what I didn't do right. I was strong physically, and my trainers made me the worst rehab plans, but they made me strong. So I found out that I tore my ACL again, and this time it was all the way through. So I had surgery in the summertime, and for the third time I decided to have a completely different outlook on things. I remember thinking, I need to trust God now, or I will dread this whole recovery process all over again. I think choosing trust is always the best option. I remember God saying to me, Kelli, I'm with you. You don't always have to understand, and you don't have to see the future to trust me. In my darkest hour, in my confusion, in my bitterness and frustration, He was right there. He was close, and He wanted to be a part of every moment. Sometimes I would ask why, and He would respond with His presence and closeness. He would ask me to trust him and invite him in. He asked for the real, raw me. He asks me to trust him time and time again, even when I can't see the future and even when it doesn't make sense. He sees the big picture and I don't. I believe trust is a daily thing. It's waking up every day and choosing faith over fear. And being able to play senior year was the biggest redemption story I've ever known. I continued to trust God each time I stepped out on the field because, believe me, just being able to play again didn't mean that it wouldn't come without fear. I chose faith that He was going to protect me when I played. I know that He is a good Father and He had the best plan in store for me, but sometimes it's hard to see it. The biggest takeaway from all of it is that when I chose to trust, I got peace from Him in exchange. And one of my favorite verses from this whole process is Isaiah 26:3. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. That's all I got for you. That's a part of my story, and we'll see you next time.
And it's alive. Here's a shot on goal in the top right hand. It's alive. Here's a shot on goal in the top